I don't want you to look at it. I want you to turn it over, blank side down.
Yes.
And when you get your paper, I want you all to close your eyes because I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to make you imagine something, all right? Close your eyes. We're going to get started. I want you to pretend that you live in a city that's full of people. And I want you to pretend that you want to go somewhere. Then one day, a man comes up to you, and he gives you a roll of paper, and he tells you that this is a deed to a land out west. He says, all you have to do to get this land is take this deed and travel way out west, and then when you get there, the land will be yours. Now pretend that you traveled, you get all your stuff together, you get all your papers, all your clothing, everything that you own, and you travel out west. It's a dangerous, scary journey. It's a scary journey, and a lot of people die when you're going that way. And when you get there, you're so excited, you can't wait, you're so excited, and you get there, and there's people on your land. But it's your land. But when you say, hey, this is my land, you need to leave, they're like, no, this is our land. Okay, guys, open your eyes. Now, the people that lived on that land were the Native Americans. Now, I want you to flip your paper over, and I want you to look at your first question. It says, after hearing the story, in your opinion, to whom does the land belong to, the Native Americans or you? Just one or two sentences, nothing long. We're going to be talking about the Native Americans. We're going to be talking about the people who lived here before the pioneers out west. Were there different kind of Native Americans, or were there all one kind? Well, there was different kind of Native Americans because they lived all across the country. There was the Sioux, listen to me, there was the Sioux, there was the Cherokee. There were different kind of Indians. They lived different ways. They had different cultures. They ate different. There were different kind of Indians, but they were all Native Americans. Now, what was the something that they relied most on? Anybody know what this is? Buffalo, right? They hunted the buffalo and they used the buffalo. After they hunted the buffalo, what did they do with them? How did they use the buffalo? Tell me. Good. Drinking cups, different utensils. What else? What else did they use the buffalo for? What's that? Weapons. True. What else? Clothing. Anything else? Shelter. Good. You guys are doing good. The Indians used the buffalo in a ton of different ways. Not only was it food for them, but they used it for clothing, like you guys said. They used it for shelter, and they used it for medicine. Different kinds of things that came from the buffalo they used for medicine. And you know what's another crazy fact? They used buffalo glue to start fires. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, crazy stuff. They did amazing. They used everything that the buffalo had. Everything. They never used it to waste. Now, when the pioneers came over, what happened to the buffalo? Anybody have a clue? They killed a ton of them. They overhunted the buffalo. Right here, all those white spots are buffalo skulls. See the person at the very bottom of that hill? Can you imagine how many skulls that is? That's hundreds of thousands of skulls. They were overkilling these buffalo. All of these, they're all hides. Different hides from the buffalo. Yeah, they were overkilling them. So what happens when you overkill something? The population goes down. They lose their reason. What happens to the Indians when the buffalo's gone? They starve. What else happens when you don't have the buffalo? Shelter and what? They don't get clothes. Now, there was something else that the pioneers brought over that you can't see. What else did the pioneers bring with them? That disease, very, very good. The pioneers, they knew what cholera was. They knew what smallpox was. They had an idea of what different diseases there were and how to treat them. Did the Indians have any idea? No. They had no idea what these smallpox. Anybody know what smallpox is? What is it? Yeah, what happens? Yeah, you get spots all over your body and all inside your body, and it will kill you. Did the Indians know what to do with this stuff? No. And they didn't know that it was contagious. So if one person got it, the whole tribe could get it and everybody could die. You know, a lot of Indians didn't die from battles and they didn't die from starvation. Although that was a good cause, a lot of Indians died from diseases that was brought over by the pioneers. Right. So what happens when, what happened when the pioneers wanted the land, but the Indians were there and they're saying, we're not moving? What happened? Anybody know what happened? Do you remember what the president did? The president wanted them out. What did he do? We talked about it last time. He forced them out. That's right. He signed a bill called the Indian Removal Bill, which forced the Indians. They didn't even have a choice. It was, hey, I want you out of your house. I don't care if you don't want to go or not. You're leaving. That's how they were. They said, pack your stuff. You're going. But my family's here. My friends are here. And hey, my food is here. Oh no, you're just going. You're leaving. All right. So there were different kinds of trails that the Indians had to take. Right here are different routes. See the little red lines? These lines all push them west. They were going from down this way over. Down this way over. And one of the big important trails that a lot of people remember is this one. Where there's a lot of purple, see those purple lines right here? That was pushing them west. That was called the Trail of Tears. That was with the Cherokee. The Cherokee were the last Indians to leave, and that was called the Trail of Tears. It was 1,200 miles long. That was about 2 months. They were expecting only 2 months of travel. Guess how long it took? 4 months. Imagine you're going to Disney World, and it took you 2 days to get to Disney World. Was that a long trip? It took forever. Well, it feels like forever if you're in a van, right? You're in a van for 2 days. Imagine going for 4 months, walking. You're not even driving. You're walking the whole way. Can you imagine that? A lot of people died. A lot of people froze because it was right in the middle of winter. Now, when they got there, that was their new home. That was called an Indian reservation. That's where they had to go and start a new life. They were not allowed to leave the reservation. They were made to stay. Was that fair? No. All right. And guess what? Pretend one of your local tribes, because there were different tribes, right? There was Indians, but there were different tribes, the Cherokee, the Sioux. Pretend that one tribe you didn't like was right next door. Here's your house, and right next door is the tribe that you always fought with for hundreds of years. How's that going to work? What happens? It's going to be a lot more fighting. Yeah, a whole lot more fighting. So that's where I'm going to end with this. Now, I want you to look at your questions. I want you to start on number 2. What did the Native Americans use the buffalo for? So the first question, I want you to list about 2 or 3. And then after that, it asks, what happens when the pioneer came? What did they do with the buffalo? What happened to the buffalo? And then number 3, what kind of sicknesses did the pioneers bring? Just one of the diseases. Remember, one of them got spots all over their body. What was that called? Who can help them? Who can tell them what kind of disease? What's your name, sweetheart? Emily, why don't you tell them? Smallpox. All right, and then lastly, what was the bill called that President Jackson signed? Does anybody remember that one? What was it, bud? Good job. The Indian Removal Bill.
Where's it from?
Oh, yeah.
And how did it affect the Native Americans? What happened when that bill was signed?
They were all forced
Over here.
Okay, guys, now I want you to look back at your first question.
Now the Union Pacific. Sorry.
Why don't we share our answers to the first question? Emily, why don't you start?
Another question.
Okay. think?
The Native Americans. Pink, give me pink, because
Okay, so everybody thinks, well, they were there first, so that's their land, right? Since, well, you're on the land and they're on the land, what kind of things could they have done to get along? Instead of kicking each other out of the land, what were some of the things they could have done?
could have divided
Yeah, so you could have divided it, right? What else could have been done? What's your name? Carter? Okay, they could have used like the buffalo instead of slaughtering all of them.
Like the Indians could like give them some of the materials like medicines, so they could help them like plant crops.
Yeah. Emily, what do you think they could have done?
They could have split the land.
Split it in half? Yeah. Joseph, what could they have done?
They could have
The railroad went through or connected.
They could have, so they could have shared, right? Let's talk about something really cool. Indians, how did they hunt the buffalo? Bow and arrows and spears. Okay, so make sure you raise your hand when you answer. How big do you think a buffalo is? Joseph, tell me how big you think it is.
like about as much as
You think so? You think an Indian could live on that size?
Oh, buffalo.
Yeah, buffalo. How big do you think a buffalo is? Yeah, no? Tell me.
Like the size of those two.
Let's just say it's about the size of a car, and it weighs probably it weighs about 3 cars. Can you imagine being a person and having to hunt with an arrow that's probably about that long, hunting a giant buffalo? Yeah, and it was dangerous. Let's talk about this. How did the pioneers hunt the buffalo? Raise your hand. Emily?
Question.
Yeah, handed with guns. How was it?
Next question is
Very good. So, who had a better way of hunting?
Anybody tell me
Which one? Yeah, they were able to hunt the buffalo a whole lot easier. But what happens when they hunted like that?
A lot of them, and they just wasted all the.
They wasted it. They killed too many. Right. Do you think, even now, there are still Indians living on the reservation? Do you think we could fix it now? Emily, how can we fix it? Fix it by sharing. What do you think, Carter? Yeah, remind them some of the land. What was it like? Tell us about it.